it going, guys? Welcome back into another video, and today is another movie review, and we are back with another big one. This is a weekend with one of probably one of, if not the biggest release of the summer that has not already come out. And today we're talking about a film that I have highly anticipated. I've talked about on my most anticipated list, one that I've really looked forward to, and that is The Suicide Squad. We've seen the trailers, directed by James Gunn. We've seen the cast. It looks awesome. It looks fantastic. Does it live up to the hype? We're going to discuss that here today. But before we get into that, I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, guys. Help me out. Come on, help a brother out. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers. We are almost there. We're almost 800. If you haven't already and you like what you see, please consider dropping a subscription. It really does mean the absolute world. This is a hobby. I do not do this for a living, and I am working, double time to get these videos out for you guys, because I do work a full-time job. It's 11:25 at night right now, and I have to go to work tomorrow morning. And I'm making this review for you guys because I want you to see my thoughts on The Suicide Squad. So if you've not already, go subscribe. It does mean the absolute world, and it helps the channel grow. But let's get into The Suicide Squad. We're going to get into the positives first. The action is cool. I mean, what did you expect? What did you expect? The action is great. It's bloody, gory, a lot of fun. This is a fun movie. It's a fun movie to watch. It's a fun piece of media to consume you. There's no doubt about that. I just want to get that out there first off. I enjoyed myself. I had a good time, laughed. It's a very funny movie. A lot of the jokes land. Not all of the jokes, and we will get into that later. But there are some bits, especially one revolving Peacemaker and Dead Bloodsport, I believe. When they're in a camp in the jungle, that's all I'm going to say. There is a gag that goes on through there that I really liked and got a kick out of and thought was hilarious. Very funny movie. A lot of great action. If that's what you want, if that's what you're going for, you are going to love it. And I liked that. I thought it was fun because you do know what you're going into when you're going into a film like this, directed by a director like James Gunn. You know what you're gonna get. And it excelled, and it was very good. I will not lie about that. Performances here are very well done as well. Ratcatcher 2, what is her name? I want to give her the credit because she is the best part of this film, performance-wise. Sorry, let me pull it up. I'm figuring this out as I go. Here we go, The Suicide Squad. Daniela Melchior? She's fantastic as Ratcatcher 2. Probably the best part of the film in terms of performances. You have Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. I don't think she's utilized that well in this film. I hate to say it. I love her character, but she's just really is kind of a side character. This really isn't her story. She's really underutilized, unfortunately. And of course, you have John Cena as Peacemaker, who I liked to a point, but that also goes back to my point about the jokes, and I will get into that in my negative. Of course, Idris Elba is great, always is what he does, and it's great. I really enjoyed those performances. I think that they were some good parts about it. There's a little bit of emotion here, in here that works. And it revolves around Ratcatcher 2. Like I said, she is by far the best part of this film, emotion-wise, performance-wise. Her story I liked. I liked it. I liked the emotional attachment, and it worked for me. Can't really say the same about the rest of them. Was not intrigued at all by their stories, but the emotion there and kind of the conclusion that we get to, again, this is spoiler-free review, so I'm not going to spoil anything. The conclusion we get to with her character, I was very satisfied by. I thought that one was actually well written and well done. Again, I already hit on it. This is a very funny movie. Again, there are bits and gags that I really thought were cleverly written, and there are jokes in here that are funny. There are. Not gonna lie, I had a good time with them. And it also made some very bold choices. Again, without spoiling, and I cannot spoil this because I'm not going to ruin the magic for all of you that have not seen it already. if you know, you know. It made some very bold choices on the fate of certain characters that I was not expecting. And yes, James Gunn has said do not get attached to any character in these films. And my God, did he mean it? Did he mean it? I do have to respect James Gunn and the people involved in writing this film for making those bold choices and actually having them carry some weight and actually having them work, because they did. And a few of them surprised me and shocked me, and that was, I like that. But with the good comes the bad, and here we go. Look, I love James Gunn. He's made one of my favorite superhero movies in the first Guardians of the Galaxy. He is who he is. We know what he is. We know who he is. We know his style. We know his shticks. We know what he likes to do. Now, the issue I have with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is the exact same issue I have here with the Suicide Squad. The big issue I have with Guardians of the Galaxy is that there is no emotion. The second one. The first one is incredible. The second one, there is no emotion. There's no emotion that carries weight because they had to throw in a cheap joke. The same thing happens in this movie. There's very abrupt cuts between scenes. There's funny gags in between them that did not work for me. Passage of time, the way that we bounce back and forth did not work for me. Because I knew what they were going for, and I respect what they were going for, making it kind of a comedic element, but it didn't work with me. I didn't like it. The jokes are, again, it's funny. There are jokes that work. I'm not going to say that they don't all work, because I did audibly laugh a few times in the theater. But you are downgrading the emotion by throwing in cheap jokes. That happened again here. Too much Gun isn't always the best thing. I respect Warner Brothers, and I thank Warner Brothers for giving James Gunn the freedom to make the movie he wanted to make. We got a relatively good movie. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but too much James Gunn is too much, and it backfired. And it backfired once again here like it did in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Let the emotion set in and settle. It doesn't always have to be about the joke. I was not the biggest fan of the writing here. The story, while I get it, it's fine. It is very tropey. It follows a lot of classic superhero tropes and regular just kind of action movie tropes. It just does. Very predictable. I knew where things were going just based on the writing and the tropes that were involved. I'm like, okay, well, this is going to happen. Okay, so this is going to happen. I don't think the writing is the strongest part of this film. Again, going back to the emotion. Ratcatcher 2, her arc is the best thing written in this film. I think that her arc carries weight, it carries emotion, and I enjoyed it, and I was intrigued by it. Besides that, there's no emotion. You know, in the trailer, this isn't spoilers because this is in the trailer. You're trying to pull a emotional arc between Idris Elba's character and his daughter. There's no emotion there. And you'll see why. You'll see why when you watch the movie. There's no emotion there. There's no emotional attachment to that dynamic at all. Was not intrigued. Was not invested. I wasn't invested in any characters. I was invested in Polka Dot Man because he had a little bit of emotion, and I was invested in Ratcatcher 2. That was about it. That really was about it. This is a poorly written film when it comes to emotion and when it comes to character development. Poorly written. And I get what he was going for. People were going to die. I get it. I get it. I get it. But you can make their deaths meaningful, especially ones that, you know, may or may not happen later in the movie. You can make deaths meaningful by building at least some sort of character. This is over a 2-hour runtime. You can cram a little bit of character in there. You can. It's a thing. So I didn't love that. And that's really where it kind of ends. I think the biggest issues I have with this film are the writing and the lack there of emotion. Now, you will see in my emotion rating, it's up there, and that's strictly because of Ratcatcher 2's emotion. That saved that score. You're going to see more of the score reflected in the writing category than you do the emotion category, because Ratcatcher 2's emotion saved that score. So when you see it, don't say, Jack, why is it so high? It's because there was emotion where it needed to be for certain characters. I'm going to dock the writing a lot, and you will see that in my rating, but I think it's I genuinely think it's a poorly written film. I do. I think it is action, jokes. More action, jokes. More action, jokes. More action, jokes. Action jokes, action jokes, action jokes. That's really what this is. It's poorly written, guys. I'm sorry. I don't like the writing. I did not like the writing here. Doesn't mean I didn't enjoy the overall experience of the movie. I just think it is flawed, and I think the writing is the biggest flaw of them all. That is all I gotta say before y'all come at me in the comments and say that I am the worst. Because my score will reflect that I still enjoyed it as a movie, and I still think it's a relatively good movie, I just have a lot of problems with it. And Sam, if you're watching this, again, I like a lot of aspects of it. That's why the rating is where it is. There are just flaws I did not like about it. But let's get into the point breakdown. Let's do it. I'm going to pull it up. Here we go. I gave Entertainment 15 out of 15 because when it comes down to it, I was thoroughly entertained. The action did what it needed to do. I laughed out loud. I was entertained. That's what this film was to do. I have a quote right here that I have. It's a fun movie to look at. It's not great to absorb. That's what this film is. It's a fun movie to look at. It is a fun time. Entertainment 15 out of 15. Performance is 15 out of 15. I will give credit to performances. I think all the performances here are really good, especially the standouts like an Idris Elba, Harley Quinn. You got Ratcatcher 2, Polka Dot Man. You've got all great performances. They did what they were supposed to do. They were having different superhero shticks, and they stuck to them, and I like that. Writing 8 out of 15. I gave writing an 8 out of 15. This is a poorly written movie. I gave it some points for some of the good that it did, but it lost a lot of points for the bad that it did. Direction, 7 out of 10. It's not all the writing, it's also the decisions by Gunn as a director. I don't think that that's the best directed movie. I love the cinematography. I do think that that's a very strong point. I forgot to mention the cinematography, and this is actually really good. Some very creative shots in some of the action, I will say. Sound 4 out of 5. Thought it was pretty good. Score 5 out of 5. It's Gunn doing what he does and getting all these oldie but goodie rock tracks, but to say you aren't tapping your foot, you'd be lying. Pacing 4 out of 5. It was paced all right. Rewatchability 5 out of 5 and an automatic 5 out of 5 points. Oh, emotion, I gave an 8 out of 10. Sorry, I don't think I mentioned that one. Emotion, 8 out of 10. If you did the math, that means I gave the Suicide Squad an 86 out of 100. This is a disappointment for me. I wanted this to be one of my favorite movies of the year. I wanted this to be a 5 out of 5. I wanted this to be in the 95 plus range. I saw the reviews. I thought, oh, hey, it might be. I am a little disappointed. I hate to say it. I thought Gunn may have learned from his downfalls in Guardians Volume 2. It's safe to say he has not. And not always in a bad way, but it's like I said, I do not think this is a very well-written film, and I do not think the emotion is there, and I was not attached to the characters at all. And hey, maybe that is what he was going for, and if it was, he succeeded. But I want y'all to let me know down below in the comments, what did you think of the Suicide Squad? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know why. You can watch it on HBO Max right now. It's out on HBO Max. Or go watch it in a theater. I will say the theater experience is great. Go watch it in a theater. I watched it in IMAX. Nothing beats going into a theater. No distractions. Fun times with fun people. This was a fun watch. Please don't kill me in the comments for being negative on this film. I still gave it an 86 out of 100. I enjoyed a lot of parts about it, as you saw in my different specific ratings, and some of the ratings that held the most weight still scored perfect 15 out of 15s. So it did do some good stuff. It really does come down to the writing. I don't like the writing. I think it's lackluster. It's just not great. So please, before you say your bad words in the comments, before you flame me in the comments, remember, it's my opinion. It is what I think about the movie. Just because I think differently than you does not mean I'm wrong, and it does not mean you're right. It's my opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. But I want to thank you all so much for watching. Again, if you have not already, please consider subscribing. It does mean the absolute world. We got more great movie reviews coming and more movie content coming soon. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next video.